Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, persons of all ages, welcome to the most exclusive group in the wrestling community. And now, your hosts, first, from Oahu, Puerto Rico, Macho Rodriguez! And his tag team partner from New Brunswick, Canada, God's Gift, Tyler Taylor!
¿Cómo estamos, mi gente? Welcome to another edition of Must Love Wrestling as the band is back together. And guess what, guys? This isn't just the band back together. This is the return of the Saturday for Must Love Wrestling. We used to do the show on Saturdays and Saturdays only in the morning, but our schedule's kind of messed up. And we figured, hey, we have an opportunity to do this show on a Saturday before a massive pay-per-view. So why not jump into it? So Tyler, how are you?
Well, it was doing pretty good before I talked to you this morning. How about you?
I'm doing pretty well. I got my daughter down here napping right now as I'm figuring out something to do. It was either, jump on a podcast with my guy here or sit there and watch Daniel Tiger until I fall asleep too. So I was like, you know what? I'd rather talk wrestling.
All right.
Yeah. So, guys, we have some interesting news. Tyler actually attended AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday. We will touch on that soon because I definitely want to hear your thoughts, your likes, your dislikes, anything that you noticed. We'll definitely touch on all of that stuff. But, guys, unfortunately, we have some breaking news today, which is not the best way to start the show, but being as Tyler and I are lifelong Jerichoholics, this is one of those weird situations where we're going to give you the information that has been presented to us. We'll give you our thoughts, but we're not going to give you our final nail in the coffin because we don't know. And I'm assuming that this isn't the last time we're going to hear this story. Jericho is very prone to answering critics and answering things like this. So I think we just need to wait and see what Jericho says.
I did just jump on his Twitter to see if he had said anything, and he hasn't as of yet.
Yeah, which is probably the smart thing. I'm pretty sure the Jacksonville Jaguars owner's son probably told him, let's wait and see if anything else comes out before you answer. And this might be the one time where he has to listen. So as being reported by Pro Wrestling Insider and also by Fightful Select, that during the first year of AEW, a massive, and I say massive because she had potential to be the next Bayley, the next AJ Lee. I mean, this wrestler was on fire. Her name is Kaylee Ray, and she was with the company. She was a hot commodity in the independent scene. She had a great gimmick going for her. Wasn't the best talker, but in the ring, she was very crisp. She was asked to visit a hotel room in which I'm assuming more than one people were supposed to be there. More than one person was supposed to be there. It wound up being her one-on-one with Chris Jericho. And from the reports that are coming out, he made a pass at her. Tyler might know what the pass was. I'm just going to leave it at that. He made a pass at her.
I don't. Yeah, I read one of her friends posted, I guess. So I read the post, and there's some other stuff I read from, and I'm not going to name names, but someone I'm pretty familiar with who I do trust. So that's what worries me here. It's really bad.
Yeah. I mean, Kaylee left the company soon thereafter. And from what we remember, it was very much like a Big Swole situation. She was labeled a headache. I mean, I remember when Kaylee Ray left, immediately she was labeled as she was impossible to work with. And she had all of these substance abuse issues. There was a lot of things that came out about Kaylee Ray at the time. And it was really interesting because it was like, oh damn, man, that really sucks. And she had actually like left the business for a little bit, if you remember, Tyler. And she slowly made her way back. But now it's being reported that this is why she left AEW.
Yeah.
Now you had some interesting things that you left me in voice messages. I was hoping you could say them here on the air.
Yeah. I don't. I don't want to disclose names.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw something that I found pretty damning from someone that I am familiar with,
Mm-hmm.
and that concerns me. It's an older post.
Mm-hmm.
It would be after this would have happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember when she left, they said something to the effect of like, we're not going to keep anyone here against their will. We don't understand why.
Mm-hmm.
They were like everyone was like, why would you do this great opportunity? Why would you do this?
Mm-hmm.
As it turns out, well, the way they use the women in that company,
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't have been much of an opportunity anyway, but that's another story for another day. God, this sucks so much. It breaks my heart. And we believe women here on this podcast, so I'm gonna assume true until, I mean, I guess you can't really prove it otherwise, but until there's some pretty convincing evidence to the contrary.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. Like, we know that this isn't the first or last time, unfortunately, that this is going to happen to any woman in professional wrestling. Unfortunately, that this is Chris Jericho. And this is someone who has been very outspoken, and he's very smart to the business. I mean, he isn't just in the business, he's smart. Like, he knows how the business works. He's a guy who gives a lot of charity. He takes care of people outside, people that can't take care of themselves, wrestlers, families. But we're not saying that because we want you to give him the benefit of the doubt. We're actually saying this because this speaks to how harmful this is going to be for someone like Chris Jericho. He isn't your typical wrestler. He is one of these people that he transcends generations. I mean, he made the comment a couple of weeks ago that if he passed away today, he'd go down as one of the greatest of all time. And we actually, on Working the Marks, we actually had a disagreement on that. I believe all four of us, me, you, Fernando, and Pat, we all thought a different opinion about that.
Yeah, I have him in the conversation, but he's not the greatest. But he may probably one of the most influential.
Maybe. And the one thing I will say about him is that the right decision was made for him to be the first AEW champion. The wrong decision was made to drop the title to Moxley. He probably should have built Adam Page, which is what it sounded like he was going to do when he won the title, based on his own words. And that's not what happened. It took 3 more guys to get to Adam Page. But getting back to this Kaylee Ray situation, this is unfortunate, man, because I just never expected it. Like, when it started circulating yesterday, I was like, not a big deal. But then all of a sudden, some of these wrestling sites started picking it up. And I was like, oh shit, like, is this factual? And then I had the night to think about it. Well, honestly, I just fell asleep early. But when I woke up this morning, it was the first thing on my mind. I was like, I really hope this isn't true. But as Tyler stated, there are some pretty convincing people out there that have had information. And if it turns out to be true, I think it's damning for the company that he works for, because they have been maligned with not being able to use women correctly. And as we'll touch on in our last topic of the day, you know, with Sasha Banks, like her talks with WWE breaking down, this would be the place where you would assume she'd get to. But something like this leaking right now, I feel like, why would she go to a company like that? You know, this is one of those really harsh wrestling topics that, you know, I don't really know what to say about it, but it's super unfortunate.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, you hope it's not true, but it's statistically proven that, you know, generally women don't lie about things like this because they're so scrutinized when they come out with it that it's usually when someone has the courage to do it, it's because it's true. So it's hard to say. I mean, obviously, the pay-per-view tonight is way secondary, but you wonder what they're going to do because they did just make a match with him in it on Wednesday.
Well, I saw some comparisons to Harvey Weinstein this morning, and I don't want to go that far.
Yeah. So the reason for that is
Okay.
some jackass went on a podcast and made the comparison.
Well, I don't want to make that comparison because Harvey Weinstein actually went what he did was years and years, and we don't know if this is Jericho's one and only, but I would only assume that if Kaylee Ray has the strength to come out and tell the world her story, that she won't be the last. And there has been lots of rumors over the years that Jericho is not faithful to his wife.
I remember the Kelly thing.
Yeah. So it's an unfortunate circumstance, but the one thing we will say is here on Must Love Wrestling, we side with Kaylee Ray. You know, we're not trying to make Jericho out to be this guy that should get the benefit of the doubt. We're hopeful that you get, you know, all of the help that you need, whether it's telling your story, whether it's, you know, all of the money that you had missed over the years, because as we said at the opening of the show, I don't know, I can't speak for Tyler, but for myself, I saw a bright future. I saw a future WWE superstar, someone that would have made it to the Performance Center, someone that would have been built by a Shawn Michaels, a Triple H, a Train, a Hurricane.
So you have to wonder also if when she left the company, if there was any sort of financial settlement that we don't know about, because obviously there's a lot that we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely more information that's going to come out.
Anyone who's brave enough to come out and tell their story, we'll support you here. So,
absolutely, we are not in the business of taking sides with one or the other. In this case, we want it to be known that until Kelly or until she tells her story, Kaylee tells her story, we're just gonna keep it mum, and we'll touch on this subject after the fact. But hopefully she gets everything that's coming to her, because it's just so unfortunate, and it's so much. Like, the one thing I'll say before we move off topic is there were issues with substance abuse, which it looks like she went into, and you have to think that having to keep this burden, to having to keep this secret, whether she signed an NDA or whatever it was, like, this affects people's mental health. Like, this can hurt her future. I mean, anybody who goes through something like this, and I know a lot of people are saying that, hey, like, the past wasn't that bad. It was just like a guy trying to hook up with a girl, but no means no, man. If she's uncomfortable, that's enough. That's it. That's all it fucking takes.
And again, we don't know. As you said, what does a past mean? Like, did he try to make a move? She freaked out and left, and then she was just not comfortable around him, or did it more than that happen? We don't know, and we won't know until if she chooses to tell her story, and if she doesn't, then that's her prerogative as well.
Yeah.
As of right now, someone else has posted this, and she did reply to the tweet with a heart. So something happened. But until we know more, we don't know.
I mean, there are people as we're on the air here, I am seeing that there are people calling for Jericho's job as soon as possible. There is I don't know this person, but they have about 20,000 followers on here. And they're stating not all information has been leaked. When it does, it will be clear as to why this person, as to why Jericho was defending Rick, why he was so defensive of Ric Flair. And
And who's this?
mhm.
Who said this?
uh, his name is just Roman Reigns Season. He's got 67,000 followers on Twitter.
Hmm,
So, and
interesting.
he's followed. It looks like he's followed by all the major markets. Like he's followed by,
Okay.
yeah, he's followed by PW
Um,
Mania. He's followed by Wrestling Purist, the Wrestling Blog. He's followed by a lot of people. So there's
okay.
he also tweeted F Chris Jericho. So I do agree with you that I
They need
wonder
to put
what's
him
going
on
to happen
unput.
tonight.
They got to put him
Hmm?
on unpaid leave. So they have to put him on unpaid leave. Is what they have to do because they can't fire him until they have the full story, unless they already have the full story, in which case they could, I guess.
Well, that's my biggest issue is I just don't believe that the owner of that company, i- he just now like it's like my abuela used to say, like you make a mistake one time, it's a mistake, right? You make a mistake multiple times, it develops a pattern, and it's very clear that now going from Big Swole to this, that there is definitely something going on backstage in terms of protecting women or the lack thereof.
What was the?
And
I'm confused. What happened with Big Swole? Wasn't she just mad about how she was used?
no, she called the company racist, and like a bunch of people came out and blasted her for it.
Right. So that was her experience, but
Exactly. So it's two different women, two different harsh experiences, and both were not
well,
protected.
one's completely different, I would say, from the other.
Trauma's trauma, man.
It's true.
I mean, if somebody calls a
I,
black person the N word,
but then
you're
she didn't say that happened. She said
no,
that
but she was
I thought what she said was her lack of opportunities was because of
because the color of her skin.
right.
Mhm.
But
As was also said about Jonathan Grisham.
and
So,
he said and he said that he doesn't believe that since
well,
then.
I'm sure being in his position in the
That's
world
true.
that
That's true. He does have a lot to lose.
yeah,
Uh,
so it's kind of one of those like harsh realities, um but yeah, before we jump into the next topic, we're going to take a quick pause here and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about Punk's MSG return. All right, guys. So next topic is CM Punk and his Madison Square Garden return. And I got to be honest with you, Tyler. And you can correct me if I'm wrong because you're a big wrestling historian too, and you have a fucking Rolodex for a brain. I cannot remember a single WWE superstar that has come back to the company that has had this level of backing this quickly. Let's just talk about this real quick before we give our actual like comments on his match with Dom. That day, December 26th, there were 4 social media shorts about CM Punk. I've never seen anything like that before his match. Him arriving to the arena, him inside the arena looking around at the ring and talking about that the last time he was at Madison Square Garden was to watch a Rancid and Misfits show. Him getting ready to go perform, his entrance, all of those things were broken up. And then after the match, he was given a brick by Madison Square Garden because once they attached his name to the card, it was a sellout. And Patty Regan, our friend from Working the Marks, my brother from another mother, he said that that place was electric. He was very clear, which I'm sure we'll talk about on Working the Marks on Tuesday. He was very clear that the two biggest pops of the night were Dom and CM Punk. They were by far the loudest at Madison Square Garden. He said the only person
Dom
that
got Dom got cheered.
no, booed. Like he was booed out of the building.
Okay, I was gonna be sad if they cheered him.
Yeah, but a pop is a pop. But he said that the show started off with a bang. With Becky Lynch.
Yeah, man.
People lost their minds. Yeah, I mean, I don't know when we've seen this, but the amount of social media presence that CM Punk has right now with WWE, the amount of time that they're spending, I cannot fathom him not winning the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. I cannot, for the life of me, see how this isn't one of those Triple H moments where he's made this comment before he jumped into the office. He said sometimes the obvious answer is the right answer.
Right answer, yes.
And I'm wondering if this is one of those things where it just completely shifted plans, because it sounded like, from all reports that came out this week, that we were getting Drew versus Seth at Mania. And now we're not getting that. Now we're supposedly getting Drew versus Damian with the briefcase on the line in a ladder match. So if CM Punk is in the main event of WrestleMania of night one, which I love Becky and I love Rhea, but there's literally nothing to their story. They stopped it. They haven't even teased it. They were on the right track, and now they're not even doing anything. Now
you'd have to tell a hell of a story to overcome what they've got just organically with Punk and Seth.
Exactly. I mean, and let's be clear. I had a phone conversation with Patty Reekin this week, and we were talking for about 2 hours, and he told me they have been building this story, which I completely forgot. They've been building this story for years.
Mm-hmm.
Seth has been trying to get Punk to come back to WWE for years. Yeah, they started on Backstage. Yeah, he was on Backstage, and Seth would start tweeting at him, and Punk cut a promo, said he needs to pay attention to what's happening in the ring instead of his Twitter. And then after that promo is when Seth started calling him a cancer. And if I can just give a peek behind the curtain, because I feel like a lot of people, they think they know professional wrestling, but they really don't. And all of us can be wrong from time to time, and we can just have outlandish and irrational comments. But guys, I hope this doesn't spoil it for you. I hope this isn't me telling you that Darth Vader's Luke's father. CM Punk is Seth Rollins' all-time favorite wrestler. He has stated this on multiple occasions. This is a dream match for him. He wants this to happen. They do not hate each other. They love each other. They are really great friends. This is a fucking story. Stop pretending like they really... This is not Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. This is different. This is Becky Lynch and Charlotte. They're doing a great job of convincing people they hate each other. They do not hate each other. Knock it off. All these people jumping in, defending Seth, and they're like, oh, why are they putting Seth in this spotlight? Because he wants it. And I would not be surprised I said CM Punk should go over, but I would not be surprised if Punk decided, hey, man, I just want a main event. I don't want to take your title. Seth should continue to be champion. I wouldn't be surprised if Seth goes over, because then it would mean more when Drew cashes in the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, Punk doesn't need the title, so I would be okay with that. I'm perfectly fine with Seth being champion when he's beating. I'm perfectly fine with Seth being champion when he's beating like top stars like that. It's when my issue earlier was that they kept putting people who losing in that situation doesn't seem to elevate them.
I
But
mean,
with a guy like Punk, it's not going to matter.
well, let's touch on that for a second. Let's sidetrack here. I know we've got like topics to stick to, but like
Yeah,
Shinsuke Nakamura is feuding with the face of the company right now, isn't he?
you're right. You're right. You're right. Well, they finally figured out how to best utilize that man.
Mhm. And Finn Balor's a undisputed tag team champion with the hottest group in the company.
Sure, but he doesn't really have the steam that he had late summer.
No, but uh, Patty said this, and this isn't my words, so I don't want to steal them. But he said that Finn might get a shot, he might not. We don't know, but
Yeah.
you know, it could just be one of those things where maybe they're waiting to turn him babyface before they put the title on him because he's clearly a better babyface than he is a heel. Although being a heel has kind of grown on me, so he's kind of like,
Oh wow.
yeah, I mean, he's very much like Frank Gallagher. There are certain seasons in Shameless where Frank Gallagher just got a little bit like it made sense to me. But anyway, getting back to this, Tyler, do you remember a time where any wrestler from the past has come back to the company after pretty much like a 10-year layoff and been kind of given the keys to the kingdom immediately?
The Rock, maybe.
But The Rock didn't leave bashing the company.
No, but he definitely distanced himself.
Yeah, his agent, which he fired, told him he needed to stop going by The Rock. He needed to go by Dwayne Johnson. He needed to distance himself from wrestling.
Maybe Brock and Goldberg, but I mean those are some of the biggest names in the history of the business. So
And so is CM Punk. I don't think we can do that
exactly.
anymore. I think CM Punk, in terms of all around wrestler, like we're just talking about what they mean to the business, I would say CM Punk is top 10 all time.
Yeah,
You
so
can't
he's in
take it like,
he's in that category. Exactly. That's what I
yeah.
mean.
I mean, just
Hogan
it,
came back and
yeah.
got learned.
Yeah, but we've heard Austin tell the story. We've heard Kevin Nash tell the story. Like Vince was never gonna give Hogan or the NWO the WCW treatment. Like we heard Austin tell the story that up until WrestleMania 18, he was supposed to lose to Scott Hall, and then he got to the building and they told him he's going over. Like that's from Austin's mouth, and then Kevin Nash
The story
confirmed it
I
on his
heard
podcast.
was sorry. The story I heard was he was supposed to lose to Hall, and Hall was out all night the night before, and Austin was pissed that he wasn't taking it seriously, so he had a fit and got it changed.
Hmm.
Which
That's not the story Kevin Nash told, but
okay, well I would believe Kevin Nash over random people.
yeah, I mean,
So
Kevin Nash actually
we'll,
said that WrestleMania was supposed to end with the NWO raising their hands. Like Hogan was supposed to beat Rock too.
best friends. He's best friends with both of them, so
Yeah, yeah,
being Hall and Austin. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, Hogan. What I'm saying with Hogan is he got the match with Rock, and obviously that
Mhm,
then led to him becoming champion. And
mhm.
but like again, as I said, all the names we're mentioning are legends. Like Shawn Michaels was out for 4 years. He came back and was a huge deal.
Yes.
Yeah, CM Punk is on that level as far as what his return means.
Yeah. I'm not gonna. We're not gonna go back to the same topic that winds up getting us at each other's throats. But it just MJF has said this in the past in regular interviews that wrestlers don't hate each other. They all want each other to be successful. They're all friends. He says it all the time. I watch guys like LA Knight. I watch Roman Reigns. Like he enjoys the product on the other side.
Yeah.
And you would think that if CM Punk was really a problem, that wrestlers in AEW would have contacted wrestlers in WWE and told them like, yeah, he was the problem here. And to me, it seems like a lot of workers in WWE are very happy, and there is no pay-per-view anymore. So you can't use that excuse anymore, guys. You can't say, "Well, yeah, but him coming back is best for business because pay-per-view sells actually like put more money in people's pockets." No, this dude sold $650,000 of t-shirts his first night back. And now his t-shirts are so hot that I tried to buy one for me and my son the other day, and they told me it's on fucking back order. His Hell Froze Over shirt, which just came out 2 weeks ago, is on back order already. And that's craziness. Yeah, I mean, I just don't remember a time where someone has done this. And I got to be honest, I have never been happier for a brand split in my life or as my life as a wrestling fan, because I mean this wholeheartedly. If there wasn't a brand split and there was only one title, I fear that CM Punk would take Cody's spot. And Cody needs, if Cody, like, I want Roman Reigns to win because I'm a fan of Roman. He's one of my favorites, but I can acknowledge that this would be bad for Cody Rhodes if he loses at WrestleMania. I don't think fans will continue to back him as a world champion, like running for the world title. I don't think people have the patience to do the Dusty Rhodes thing.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're willing to sit and wait for the third time's the charm kind of thing here.
Yeah,
unless
I
it
don't
was
think
like
it'll
the
wait
next
that
month.
long. I think it would probably be in November. It'd probably be like Survivor Series, because for Roman to break Hogan's streak, he'd have to make it to September as champion. And I think that's the plan, is they don't want to break Bob Backlund. They don't want to break Bruno. They want to break Hogan. And they want Roman to be mentioned with guys like Bruno Sammartino and Bob Backlund. Like, they want him to be like the longest reigning champions ever. And I mean, that's awesome for like his fans. But Cody kind of needs this win.
If he's not going to win the title, don't put him in the main event.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that.
I agree.
Do somebody else.
I agree. There is a report that Roman, from Zero News, which that motherfucker's wrong a lot, but he has been right so far about everything CM Punk wise. I will read you the report here before we move on to the next topic, where he says currently there is a plan for WWE to do both Roman versus Cody and Roman versus Rock in 2024. Roman will go into both matches as champion and leave as champion. However, these two won't be at Mania, meaning one will be another time in 2024. These plans could change anytime, but this is the current direction. So I am of the mindset that Rocky could get booed, because if Rocky's the reason Cody doesn't win the title, I think this can go back to that Royal Rumble where he got booed in Philly.
I think Roman got booed in Philly and Rock just happened to be there. But
yeah, but it's so weird because a couple months later, Philly lost their shit when he beat Sheamus for the world title. He even cut a promo after. That's a pretty famous promo where he says, like, we came a long way, me and you, Philly. Like, I remember that. Like, when the Usos, like, when we first got the bloodline, like, thing, when the Usos came out to celebrate with him. But Sheamus has that ability to get people to cheer.
Yeah, and he wasn't preventing Daniel Bryan from being in the main event at that time.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Yeah, he was done. He was retired.
Yeah.
Moving on, since you want to talk about Daniel Bryan, why don't we talk about the company he works for? So, Tyler, you were at Dynamite. So why don't you give us your thoughts?
I mean, I had a great time. I really enjoyed the show. The triple threat with Mox, Swerve, and Jay White was unbelievable. I didn't agree with the winner until, because I wanted Swerve, obviously. The whole crowd wanted Swerve. As I texted you, he's going to have to start invading other people's houses or he's going to be babyface before we know it. But I think I've come around to the idea that this entire tournament is to make Eddie.
I think Eddie's made already. I don't understand this. People keep
Well,
saying that.
but I think that's what their plan is, regardless. And so that if that's the case, then it makes sense for him to first go over Brian, who he's had issues with in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's come out and said that he thinks what did he call him, a judgmental prick?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Something to that
And
effect.
Brian said, "Yep, I am."
Okay, nothing like owning it. And then Mox, who he's had a history with. Yeah, so that triple threat was outstanding. The match itself. But yes, the entire crowd wanted Swerve, and it was a full house. Like,
Yes.
don't
I did see a lot of reports of that. There was a lot of
don't let it
videos coming out that they had.
some pictures of like a section that's closed.
No. There were no pictures like that about Dynamite. It said
Okay.
Dynamite's a packed house tonight. Yeah.
And a lot of people stayed for Rampage.
Oh, okay.
They were not nearly as interested, but they were there.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great match. And I think Eddie and Brian was even better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And shout out to Brian Danielson for when Mox came out to confront Eddie. I don't know if they showed him on TV, but he's laying in the corner of by where the barricade is.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't move the entire time. I was like, should someone check on him? Because he just sold it the entire time.
That's good. It's a great way to get Eddie over. And then his promo afterward, he starts crying. It helped Eddie. It helped Eddie more.
So yeah, that was awesome. So one thing I did want to say about because we're both in agreement that we wanted Swerve to win, but he didn't eat the pin. Okay, well I'll get on to him in a second because I have something for him too. He did not eat the pin, and they made him a big deal by giving him interview time right afterward, where he points out that he didn't eat the pin, and then they made his match with Keith Lee seem like a big deal, even though to me it's like whatever.
Yeah.
So they still made him seem like a big star, and I think he's gonna be the next world champ.
Yeah. I'm going to take a swig of my Mountain Dew Code Red. So if Mountain Dew, you're looking for any sponsors, Must Love Wrestling would absolutely love to talk about you guys.
Yeah, we're
been rocking Code Red since I was a teenager. 39 now, guys.
Public drinking water.
Not going to talk about the time I used to chug this down to this spot right here and then pour vodka and the rest in underage drink. We're not going to talk about that. But we're going to, you know, definitely looking for sponsors.
So also,
yeah, I mean,
I don't know if, and I hope to God they replay it before the pay-per-view tonight, because I don't know how many people are on TikTok and are seeing these promos. The promos from Eddie, Brian, and Jay White on the TikTok, phenomenal.
Yes, all great promos. There's a lot of wrestling fans out there that feel that Jay White made a mistake going to AEW, and I'm not going to jump that far into the deep end, but what I will say is he is not nearly established enough to take this many losses. That's what I will say.
That's true, but they do continue to give him high profile wins, like the win over Moxley on Dynamite the week before. They continue to put him in high profile situations, and then they give him that promo after the show, which I don't know if it was written for him or if he cut it himself, but he's still being made to look like a big deal. Now, obviously, at some point he needs to start winning because, as you said, he's not established enough in America to constantly be the guy who does the job. Like, okay, let's make him the guy to take the title off Orange Cassidy. That gives him
Why?
something. Why?
Yeah, like how do you book it? Because right now the company loves bingo ball booking. So
It's okay. So he's like he's pissed off because he has all these losses, and he's annoyed that this nonchalant, happy-go-lucky guy has the title, and he's like, man, you don't even care. Like, this is my life. So he challenges him and he beats him for the title.
can we pause for a second? More information has come out about Jericho.
Fuck.
Danhausen, who a lot of people know as an indie darling, after Jericho pointed out that he does not have an NDA for the backstage scrum,
Yeah.
had actually said, tweet and deleted something to him, which was, what about your NDAs, Chris? So
Oh shit.
it seems as though Chris Jericho that a lot of people knew the truth. And I've actually said this, and I don't know if I've said it here or if I've said it on Work in the Marks when talking about Jericho before or talking about AEW before, but I've actually said that I believe that Tony Khan forces his talent to defend the company on the internet. Because
I know you've felt that way, and
yeah.
To me, it's more like, well, if you have a positive, these people are attacking us. If your experience is positive, why don't you go ahead and say something? Which is cheesy, but I get why he would do it. But again, it doesn't matter what your experience is. If I have a terrible experience somewhere and you have a good experience somewhere, it doesn't mean that either of our experiences are invalidated.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty rough. But jumping back to Dynamite, we saw the Rio and Tony Storm story. It kept going. And I gotta tell you, I'm pretty excited about this match tonight. I mean, I love Tony Storm, and I'm not the biggest fan of Rio, but here's what I will say about her. She is kind of crisp in the ring. I think she's a better in-ring performer than Sheeta. I think Sheeta's super overrated. And I trust Kenny Omega's judgment. And Kenny pushed very hard for Rio to be there. And I have to believe that he did that based on what she can provide to professional wrestling. So I'm excited. I don't want Tony to lose the title. She is the betting favorite. We can go over the bettors' odds and stuff of who's supposed to win each match at the end of the show before we touch on our last topic, because it looks like it's kind of like very obvious. Like there's going to be no surprises.
Where can I bet on this?
I don't. Let me.
Do they have that on Hard Rock Bet?
I don't know. Hold on. I can tell you when, as I sit here. Oops. Have to jump out of the page in Safari where I was ordering my iPhone 15.
Look at you, fancy. No, they don't.
Well, they offered me 50% off, man. So Apple, if you'd like to send us a sponsor here too, I've been it's the only smartphone I've ever owned. We'd absolutely take that.
So we won't discuss the one that I have. Although Android, Samsung, if you want to, throw us a couple bucks, we're good there too. I don't
really believe in the war because that was never a thing back in the day. It's become an iPhone and Samsung thing, but that was never a thing. Like I used to have a Razor, and some people had some people had like a BlackBerry. Like it doesn't matter.
My phone was free.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, getting back. I can't find the odds right now, but
that's okay.
We're paused. Yeah. Getting back to that, the one thing I have a negative about the show that you attended, which maybe you may have gotten more stuff. I felt like it was a very lackadaisical way to push the Christian Cage and Adam Copeland story. Like, this is supposed to be massive.
Yeah.
Like,
So
where
what I
is
think
this?
happened
Yeah.
is that every like the two matches from the Continental Classic went so long
Hmm.
that everything else felt a little rushed.
Hmm.
I will say, and also they gave Statlander and Sky Blue and the post match angle there a lot more time than I thought they would. Because even that made because they had when they went out, there was like 20 minutes left in the show, and they still had to do the main event angle, and they still gave them. They probably got what, like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Sure.
The Statlander and Julie Hart, or Statlander and Sky Blue or Sky Black. Was she still Sky Blue? Yeah, no, I think it was like a 12-minute match.
Yeah, because I kept thinking, oh, this is gonna be short. This is gonna be short because we still have to get to the main event, and I'm looking at my phone, and it's 9:40.
Yeah,
but they gave they gave the matches so much time that I think a lot of the other stuff was rushed. And so rather than have them just talk mean stuff to each other, I guess it's more impactful for them to have a little schmoz backstage.
Yeah.
I was hoping I'd see Adam Copeland come out in the ring, but unfortunately,
yeah.
I
actually have this show set up shitty, so we're actually gonna save. We're going to save one topic for after intermission. But before we jump into that, since we currently are talking about the Dynamite show, why don't we talk about the Continental Classic? So let's jump into that, and we'll save, sneak peek. We'll save Sammy for after intermission, because that'll, having Sammy and Sasha in the same rundown seems right. Anyway, so the Continental Classic to me has been an epic failure. Obviously, I feel differently than Tyler. I had conversations with a couple coworkers at my job that are big wrestling fans as well. And the one thing we all came into agreement is I thought this Continental Classic was designed to build a new star, to make someone young, to have someone young win it. Daniel Garcia, 0 wins. That's not building a star, especially when they're trying to take him away from the sports entertainment aspect. This Mark Briscoe, 0 wins. Once again, somebody young, he lost every single match. He lost every Continental Classic match.
I thought he beat Lethal.
He beat Lethal in a 1-on-1 later after he beat Bryan. It just kind of felt like, and I made this comparison the other day, like every time the King of the Ring came around, we always knew that it was like the next step for someone. When Bret Hart won the King of the Ring, we knew he was moving into the world title picture. It didn't happen for Owen Hart. I don't know why. Dumbest decision Vince has ever made. It happened for King Mabel.
He main evented SummerSlam that year. Or no, he didn't.
Yeah, but he should have won the world title. Yeah.
You're right. You're
right. Mabel, he hurt him. He was supposed to be WWE champion, or WWF champion, but
he started breaking people.
Yeah, he started hurting people. Stone Cold Steve Austin immediately thrust into the main event scene. Triple H immediately thrust into the main event scene. Ken Shamrock was thrust into the main event scene, but just an unsafe worker, so it didn't work out for him. Billy Gunn was thrust into the main event scene until The Rock actually ruined him in one promo. Edge. We know what that did. Kurt Angle, we know what that did. I mean, Kurt Angle won the world title before the King of the Ring, so. But, I mean, when you look at it, Brock Lesnar, I mean, that's a massive one. That was one of the biggest ever. We haven't really had that. Like, what they've done is they've just given the King of the Ring to, like, older wrestlers and stuff, like Booker T. But we got King Booker, and we love King Booker here, at least on my side. And I remember when William Regal won, people were mad. Why didn't CM Punk win? I remember when Sheamus won. I don't remember who he beat for the thing, but I remember people were angry that Sheamus won. It was like, why? These guys are already established stars. They've already been around for a while. It makes zero sense.
Morrison.
Huh?
He beat Morrison. That's why.
Who did
He
he
beat
beat?
John Morrison.
Oh,
Morrison.
yeah. See, what the fuck? Like CM Punk and John Morrison, the two stars that were supposed to come out of ECW. Obviously, CM Punk was able to make himself later on.
But like a month later, Morrison did beat him in a ladder match for a title shot. So on pay-per-view. So,
Yeah.
50-50.
So, yeah, it was kind of one of these things. And like, I just remember people being upset at the time. So now I'm watching Eddie Kingston, who's in his late 30s, and John Moxley, who's in his late 30s. And I'm not going to sit here and say like they're too old, because obviously Cody's 37 and he's going to be a world champion by the time he's 38. And CM Punk's 45 and Seth Rollins is 38 and, Roman's 37. So like the age is fine, but John Moxley is a multiple time world champion. He doesn't need this. Eddie Kingston is a current double champion. He doesn't need this. He's currently the world champion for Ring of Honor. He's currently a strong weight champion. I don't understand. I really felt like Bryan should have been in the final to eat the loss to make a star. This is what you do when you're on your way out of the business. You make a star. And I don't think Eddie Kingston needs made. He's come in with the CM Punk pipe bomb. He's come in ready. Like, people love Eddie. I love Eddie. So, like, I love Eddie, and I've defended John Moxley on our show a lot. I think this is the wrong main event.
Yeah, I think Moxley's there to do the job.
Yeah, of course.
To Eddie, and I think the whole tournament was designed to make Eddie. That's why his titles were on the line. Because let's be honest, at this point, being Ring of Honor champion is about as relevant as the prize in the Cracker Jack box.
Ooh, you're gonna get a lot of.
It's not on TV. When was the last time we defended it?
People really seem to love Ring of Honor, so they're saying that it's.
I do too, but they're not on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And when was the last time you saw Eddie Kingston defend his title?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta be honest with you.
Mentioned, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
so like
the tag team champions are they're the AEW version of the Conquistadores right now.
Yeah, they are. That was weird. They are. To me, it's just they're trying to make him a top guy without making him. Like, I don't think he's ever going to be in the AEW world title picture. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's what they see for him. So they're giving him this as, well, we're making you this way. Mm-hmm. With that Triple Crown. I also think we need to have another conversation. Remember back in a couple months ago, we had a conversation about how we feel I'm not really able to be objective about Finn Balor. Mm-hmm. I think we need to acknowledge the same for you about AEW.
No, I want them to be successful, and they're shitting on my.
No, I understand you want them to be successful, but I think if Tony Khan left and someone else took over, you could potentially get there. But I think right now, everything they do, you're going to hate.
Well, I love certain things. I love Tony Storm, love Samoa Joe, love Bryan, love the entire Bullet Club, love Swerve. Big fan of Thunder Rosa. I mean, I love a lot of things about it, and I think that having a Wish version of The Miz as world champion has really hurt the company. I think that
most people don't agree with that opinion.
I don't see most people commenting about him being great, Tyler. When you say things like that, when you come on here and you tell me like that a lot of people disagree with me, you know what I start doing when we get off the podcast? I start Googling and I start Twittering to find out how many great comments are about those guys that I dislike. And when you know what I realized,
but
nobody
watch the reaction
talks about
when he comes
MJF.
out. Watch the reaction he gets when he comes out.
So you're gonna sit here and you're gonna backtrack because we are both in agreement that live AEW fans are not the same as internet AEW fans.
No, I think the live fans are fans. But I think it's only
they don't always show up. Maybe they showed up one day in the past year.
But I think it's only the internet fans. I don't think they have the casual fan.
And I will say Rajiri just said this the other day to someone. AEW fans, Wembley's become a crutch for you. If that's your go-to, that means that you have no real defense for the company anymore. If your immediate reaction is Wembley sold out.
I mean, I guess if someone's telling you can't draw, and then you're like, well, look at this. Like,
well, I personally, I don't think he's a good representation of the company. Like, I just don't think so. When I look at him, I'm just like, we're just talking about I'm not going to say anything negative about him, his physical stature. What I will say is he's just not world champion material. I feel like he's the worst AEW world champion ever, and he's the longest reigning. This has been the worst version of AEW world champion that I've ever seen. It's really bad. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of The Miz's first WWF run as world champion. He started off with these great matches with wrestling John Morrison, and then it was oh yeah, I'm gonna do these matches, and then he had his feud with Cena, and then it was all right, let's get the title off this guy because we've made it as far as we can. We know he's gonna go over tonight because Tony Khan doesn't want to take the title off him, which is so strange to me because he's not selling out. He's not drawing money.
Okay, so there was another thing. We haven't had a show since you posted it because you posted the ticket sales for Madison Square Garden versus tonight's show.
Yeah, I really enjoyed doing that.
You did, but so do you know what the current ticket sales are for tonight?
No.
By chance?
Of course not. No, not of course not.
Because that was about a week ago. Difference is, I don't know what the setup is. I don't know what capacity is for Madison Square Garden or for Nassau Coliseum for wrestling. But I went back and looked at the last two pay-per-views that were there for WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Fatal 4-Way in 2010 drew 10K.
Mm-hmm.
And Evolution in 2018 drew 10,900.
Wow.
So it's more, but it's not. There's a difference in capacity as well. We're not comparing apples to apples.
See, you took my argument and you made it your own argument. My argument about CM Punk was to point out how fucking stupid Tony Khan is because he could have been drawing that for AEW. That was why I posted that.
But he couldn't have been drawing for that because they wouldn't be in that arena.
They wouldn't be in Madison Square Garden, no. But, I mean, it's clear that CM Punk is a draw.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm not going to argue that.
But there's a lot of people like Meltzer who said that, but AEW's not doing well ticket sales, but I thought CM Punk was a draw. Well, he went to the big machine. They're utilizing him correctly. They're having him do backstage segments. They're having him go out and cut promos. They're doing everything you're supposed to do when you have a well-run, oiled machine. And it's working. People are going to buy tickets to go see him.
So was that show sold out last year?
What show?
The Boxing Day show at MSG.
I don't know. I thought that was over here because I took Arthur to go see the holiday show last year in Hershey.
Yeah, they had several holiday shows. I think they had one. I think in Hershey they were maybe the night after. Because I know they went to Detroit, and still they're calling it the holiday tour.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I just look at AEW as one of those things where I just don't think they want to be successful. I just legitimately build a fucking star. Stop trying to buy everybody. Now there's this ooh, Mustafa Ali's gonna save us. What? What?
So I had. Do you want to know the idea I had for Mustafa Ali in AEW?
What?
He should be the devil.
Well,
He
he
should be like,
was the leader of a group in
he
WWE,
does
and it
all
didn't work there.
this scumbag, and you cheer him, and he's the champion. I'm the conscience of the brand of the wrestling, and I get released. Obviously, you would say it better than that, but
yeah, I get it. It's just
you could be the conscience of AEW.
I don't know. I haven't paid attention to the Devil storyline, like at all. I'm just not interested. I'm not interested in anything MJF does. He's my least like I legitimately shut the TV or I change the channel. Like I don't feel like anything he does is worth watching. Like his stupid Players Tribune thing that he did yesterday, that article, I was like, yeah, he called Bryan Danielson the greatest of all time. Awesome. He called Eddie Guerrero like the only other guy that can be considered the greatest of all time. Awesome. Cool. We agree on something. That's great. Hey, what? Hey, guess what? Me and Donald Trump are both New York Yankee fans. I still don't like that motherfucker. So I don't need to like MJF. I just feel like there's nothing he does.
I think that's kind of a mean comparison.
I guess. I mean, I'm just pointing out that like there's someone else that I dislike vehemently, and like he's a Yankees fan, and I don't like him. I just kind of look at it as I don't get it. What?
When like the worst person likes the same thing you do.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I look at it as like, hey man, there's nothing I believe he can do that makes me a fan of his. Like I've just never really gotten it. Yeah, that's what it is. It's that simple. Like it's like I think that's how it works. Like it's like your cup of tea. It's like there's a bunch of people that are big Roderick Strong fans that think Roderick Strong was the best member of, the group they had in NXT, and I'm thinking like, the fuck are you smoking? Kyle O'Reilly was in that group.
Right.
Like that's how I feel. But guess what? There are people that like Roddy. There are people that enjoy this whole Roderick Strong coming out and screaming Samoa and then Joe. Like they love it. They think it's brilliant.
I don't like Roddy.
Like, okay.
I think he's all right.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give my take on MJF, and I know you're gonna hate it because you know exactly what I'm gonna say. He's fine.
Yeah,
he's fine. I don't dislike him. I find some of the things he says amusing. I think his matches are right. I think he's clever.
Yeah. I was on this the Biconics podcast, and I forget who said it. I think it might have been Adolfo. He's one of the guys who reviews like AEW. He said MJF is brilliant at working a live crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give him that. And I agreed right away with Adolfo when he said it. That is 1,000% true. He's brilliant at working a live crowd. But in terms of strength. Yeah, that's his biggest strength. But he doesn't draw money. He doesn't make people want to tune in. Like, dude, let me ask you this question before we take a pause here, because we're going to take a pause and then we're going to come back into our intermission. But before we do that, let me just ask you one question, and I want your honest answer. If AEW decided to start adopting some WWE things and they decided, hey, we're going to start to let people know MJF is going to be on Dynamite, MJF is going to be on Collision, do you think people would tune in to watch? Do you think he has that drawing power that makes people want to turn on Wednesday night just because he's going to be on? Let's say he misses like 3 weeks after tonight's win, and then they're like, MJF returns January 17th.
I think if he missed 3 weeks, people would tune in to see what he has to say, and what is next. What's next? If he's on Dynamite next week, I don't know that anyone who would not otherwise watch is going to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I
very
just think that
strange.
this is their fan base,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
I don't know how to grow it at this point.
oh, I think, I mean, I forget what wrestler in that company said it, but they just said it 2 weeks ago. Swerve, because he brings
Sure.
in people to watch, and people keep forgetting. Swerve is not your typical guy. He has a hip hop career. People are tuning in to watch him from that like fan base.
How successful is he in that? Because like I don't.
Dude, it doesn't need to be successful.
I mean,
Before
I
Outkast
honestly
won
don't
their
know.
Grammy, they weren't anything. Outkast got booed off stage when they won their first Grammy or their first BET award. And it took
No, but I honestly
no.
don't know. Like I know he's something that he does, and
Mhm.
like I don't. I mean, you don't hear really hip hop on the radio, so I wouldn't even know there. I guess
Yeah, I
very
mean,
much. So like, is he
whatever's
charting? Is he?
happening. I honestly I don't know, but I know that he's got a fan base from that side of like of media, and
I know he had a big controversy about a week ago because he posted some video of him listening to a song, and the African American community was not pleased.
oh I didn't hear about this. I'm sorry, I didn't.
He's
What is
deleted the
this?
post.
He's not allowed to listen to music.
No, there's some lyrics about I think it said something like I had a girl, but she's black and ugly. It's a rap song.
Oh wow. Okay.
And they didn't the African American community was not pleased to see him supporting that.
Mm.
So it wasn't okay. It wasn't you that
I
reposted
didn't
the
I didn't
TikTok.
I didn't know about this. I'm sorry. I'm trying to look it up now. That's what I'm trying to do. Just
Sorry.
yeah. But I see here
I
Jobber
thought it was
Nation
you
just
that reposted the TikTok.
yeah. Okay. I see that Jobber Nation just said, I'm hearing this Chris Jericho story is way bigger than people are led to believe. This is way bigger than WWE versus AEW. This is about a man who has gotten away with potential sexual assaults for years. AEW has tried to ignore and downplay these since 2020. What the fuck? Whether Jericho, Allen, Callis, Justin Roberts, etc., Tony Khan has done zero. Whoa, what are those names? Well, I knew about Darby Allen. I have never been a fan of that fucker. Tony Khan has downplayed zero, has done zero to protect these women for years. Kaylee Ray seemingly confirmed rumors. If true, Jericho is done and his legacy is tarnished forever. If true, Tony Khan must step down from AEW ASAP as he has tried to cover this up for years. Whoa. We'll talk about that when we come back from intermission, guys. But for now, we're gonna pause because I want Tyler to really think about what he's gonna say here.
Let's
Because
talk about that.
yeah, this is gonna be interesting because yeah. So
The
all
only
right,
thing
guys,
I'm
we'll
gonna
be
say
right
on
back.
okay.
Yeah. No, I go ahead before I go.
The only thing
go
I'm gonna
ahead.
say on that is consider the source.
Well, let's do some research before we start. Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
he does.
for sure.
Yeah. All right, guys, we are back and we are jumping right into intermission as Tyler has a special match of the week recommendation for us.
Match of the week. So it happened 25 years ago yesterday. It was taped and actually aired about a week later. Mick Foley defeated The Rock to become, or Mankind, Mick Foley defeated The Rock to become WWF champion for the first time. It's a really fun match. It's got a lot of shenanigans. Not the greatest from a technical perspective, but just a lot of fun. And if you want to see the opposite, airing on the same night, although it would be 25 years ago next week, the Finger Poke of Doom.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, as Tyler has stated, that match was exceptional, and it is one of the most brilliant, story-driven matches we've ever gotten. Um, it you honestly believed that Vince McMahon was super angry that Mick Foley was his champion. He was disgusted. I mean, the celebration, the people, and as WCW, pulled their, you know, baby Tony Khan, they told everybody to tune in to that show, and the ratings switched because of WCW. Eric Bischoff made a mistake, one of the mistakes that Tony's called him out for in the past. So, I mean, I remember liking that match. I remember loving that match. I remember loving the I Quit match. I remember loving uh, the halftime heat match. I mean, Rock and Foley were great together. As you
Yeah.
said, not technically sound, but they really worked each other in a brilliant way. Well, some
Yeah, a lot of
somber,
fun.
yeah, some somber today in wrestling history, but we'll represent him the best way we can. On this day in 2020, AEW presented a special tribute show in honor of Brody Lee. Some highlights from the emotional show include Lee's wife and son placing Brody's boots and purple bandana in the middle of the ring. Cody made a speech, and then Tony Khan presented Lee's son with a TNT title and named him TNT champion for life. Uh, that was pretty special. 31 years ago today, Big Van Vader regained the WCW world title from Ron Simmons at a house show in Baltimore. God, Baltimore's the worst. Yeah, 1980, 81, and 82, the world's strongest
Why would
man.
you say such a thing?
What
Why would you say such a thing?
about?
Baltimore.
Oh, I think it's just awful. Like I remember the first vacation that I went on with Ashley. We went to Inner Harbor, and we seriously argued the entire weekend. We've never had a vacation like it's just that town brings it out of you. The people was just
I just thought it might have had a
awful.
little bit to do with
It's the murder capital of the world.
something that happened on
Um,
Monday night. But
no, they've ruined three. They've given me three ruined experiences: a Super Bowl, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. Yeah.
hey, sorry.
Yeah, the 1980, 81, and 82 World's Strongest Man WCW star Bill Kazmaier turned 70 today. I mean, damn, that's a pretty good one. On this day,
Star.
18 years ago, Eminem, Joey Mercury, and Johnny Nitro won the tag team titles for the third time, defeating Batista and some shitty little gremlin named Rey Mysterio.
Wow.
And 26 years ago today, Jim Cornette debuts Cornette's Commentary, where he drops some truth bombs about what wrestling had become. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. Everything else is just birthday stuff. So,
Yeah.
guys.
So I wanted to follow up on you were talking about the Brody Lee thing. They actually had -1 come out after Rampage on Wednesday, the taping, and he was in the ring. Tony gave him the mic, and he started to cut a promo, and then he kind of was like, "I'm done," handed it back, and then they pulled a child out of the crowd, and there was a group hug with -1, Tony, the best friends, Orange Cassidy, and the child. So there's still, that's one thing that's one really good thing we can honestly say that AEW has done is they've taken care of that family.
Yeah.
Brody's widow still works there.
Yes, I know she does. That's a big deal to me. I love the fact that man, I don't know. I love the fact that they've taken care of her. they've made sure she's been like safe and everything. It's kind of like what WWE did for JoJo and Bray Wyatt.
Right. I know. I wanted to say that because we haven't had a show since that broke. Props to them for putting Bray on the Legends contract and taking care of his wife and kids.
Yeah, that's a great thing. That's a great thing. Yeah, so guys, we're gonna move into the next topic as we talk, which I guess it does include Jericho, because I was bitching about this yesterday morning before I started work at about 4:45 in the morning as I'm waiting in the parking lot for the doors to unlock. Sammy Guevara once again thrust into a Chris Jericho storyline. Once again, not allowed to be a single star on his own. It's like the company has nothing, like no plans for him whatsoever. He comes back. The Less Sex Gods are back together. They confirmed it last night at Rampage with their little thing. And you know, I find it funny that it's the Less Sex Gods with Jericho's stuff. But yeah, I mean, I hate this for Sammy. He told us he didn't want to do this anymore. And I think, like, when you work somewhere, you have a job, you have to do what your boss tells you. Like this week, I was sent to a place, you know, I didn't want to go to, but my boss told me that I had to, so I had to do it. And then the same thing works for guys like Sammy. He comes back and they're like, hey, we need you to jump in with Jericho because Kenny Omega's hurt. But, you know, I just don't understand. I don't understand why Jericho is in this spot to begin with. As I've said before, I feel like he's stealing a lot of younger wrestlers' shine. Like this, like going after the tag titles, like if this is what you need Sammy to do, why not have him tag with Daniel Garcia? Like you're two young talents, put the tag titles on them. Let's see what they could do together. Let's see if they turn into, like, we've seen tag teams get thrown together and it turned out to be something that nobody expected. The Bar, the Hollywood Blondes. I mean, we've seen this happen. The New Day. Sometimes teams get thrown together. It makes zero sense. And then all of a sudden they wind up being like super special to professional wrestling history. I mean, I know friends, I'm not friends because I don't have many, but I know people that think the Bar is a top 10 tag team all time based on what they did with their time together. I mean, that's nuts. Like, I'm not.
They were awesome. I mean,
yeah, they were awesome. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, they have the opportunity to build something special, but I can't knock them for not building young talent because Kyle Fletcher is clearly in their plans for the future.
Oh God, so good.
Mm-hmm. So good.
So with the Sammy thing, I had a couple thoughts. There are, since you started by talking about the All Access that they did.
Mm-hmm.
Since that was filmed during the lead up to Full Gear in 2022, Sammy is one of only two people not named MJF to have a title match, multiple title matches for a singles world title on pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
He has two. He was in the 4-way for the Ring of Honor title, and then the Four Pillars 4-way for the what are you eating? For the AEW title. However, those are his only two singles matches on pay-per-view. He also has I believe 2 Dynamite main events against Bryan Danielson, and the match on the Grand Slam against Jericho, where they reenacted the Jericho HBK.
Yeah,
right down to the tights.
I mean,
So what I think happened here was he got hurt, and also around that time Tay had the baby.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been out for 3 months ish. And in that time, so we've got 5 or 6 people that would then now be ahead of him on the babyface side, 5 or 6 people that would have been ahead of him on the heel side. So he'd be doing the Daniel Garcia gimmick right now if he wanted to be a singles star. Basically, he'd be the guy who goes out and maybe gets 5-10 minutes of TV time, does jobs. So they probably went to him and they're like, we can either do that or, Kenny's out for a while. We can put you in this spot, get you on TV, keep you relevant until maybe an opportunity presents itself. And I'm going to think that maybe he jumped at that, despite it not being what he actually wants to do. Now, I don't know any of this, but that seems to make sense to me. Because, on the babyface side, you've got MJF, who's a champion, so he's going to be, at the top.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Eddie Kingston. I had a list. Orange Cassidy.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say Andrade is a babyface?
He's on his way out.
Think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he probably loses tonight, and then contract runs out, and he goes back to the big machine, where he'll get used properly.
So there's at least 3. I would say Adam Copeland would be ahead of him on the pecking order. So that's 4. Sting, Darby, that's 6. So he could be the 7th babyface.
Mm-hmm.
The heel side, you've got the whole Blackpool Combat Club minus. I'm not sure why he exists in wrestling.
Wheeler Yuta?
Obviously, he can still be a person, but yeah, what is he doing?
Wrestling Hook.
So you've got, we've got Mox, we've got Brian, we've got Joe, you've got Swerve. That's not necessarily in any order. So he could be the sixth heel. So the opportunities as a single star right now are not there. So they said, all right, we can put you here.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Sammy Guevara is one of the most talented wrestlers in the world?
One of the most talented in the world, like in terms of like what top 25?
In-ring ability. Just
like,
what he's able to do.
Give me a number. He's in what? The top? Sure, top 25.
We'll just narrow it down to AEW. Just narrow it down to AEW instead of the world.
Sure, okay, but I don't think he's more over than any of those people I just mentioned.
Says who?
The crowd. He got no reaction.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, because nobody wants to see him with Jericho. So if Sammy Guevara was the devil...
Jericho got a reaction, though.
Of course he did. He's a legend. If Sammy Guevara was the devil, would that not be a great way to get him?
That would be excellent, and that would be the only place that they could put him right now that gives him a prominent role.
No, they can't.
They still could. They don't know what the devil does on his spare time.
I don't know. But what I will say is
I don't think that's what they're going to
do. No. They're really pointing out that it's Adam Cole. Like there's been a lot. Like I don't think we're going to find out who the devil is till Adam Cole is ready to come back. So
yeah,
I love that clip this week of I love that clip this week of Adam Cole manipulating MJF into defending his title against Samoa Joe. I thought that was a really great clip where he says, "Man up, you offered this man a title shot. Now man up and do it."
It's not really
that was interesting.
That's like live up to your word.
Yeah, but in terms of the story, it was meant to manipulate MJF into doing something like this. I just look at Sammy Guevara as one of the most talented wrestlers in the company, and the more and more that I see about him, whether it was his podcast that he just did this week with Chris Van Fleet,
Ooh, have to get
and
that one downloaded.
when he talks about like professional wrestling and we get to see a peek inside, I think to myself, like, this guy has all the goods, man. Like, he seems like a genuine guy. He's very remorseful for mistakes that he's made in the past, the way he was able to patch things up with Eddie Kingston, who is not super easy to get along with. And I'm just going based off people that I've spoken to that are in the biz that say, Eddie, what you see on TV is what you're going to get in real life. So that is, as Stone Cold Steve Austin once said, Steve Austin is Steve Williams just turned all the way up on the radio. So that is Eddie Kingston. It's not like Kevin Owens. People that have met Kevin Owens in real life say he is one of the nicest human beings in the world. So,
oh God, yeah, he's a sweetheart.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one of those things. I just feel like Sammy's always put in this position, and I don't think it's fair to him because this is 5 years in, and he is one of the pillars, which was a big deal to this company, and he still doesn't have his own prominent role. Even Daniel Garcia has something going on right now.
Yeah, but would you rather have him in the spot like what Daniel Garcia's in? Because I don't think that's doing him any favors.
I don't think it's doing Daniel Garcia any favors, but Daniel Garcia is not a pillar, and he's a youngster. He's in his early 20s. Like, Sammy is headed towards his 30s, and he's been with this company for 5 years. He's a former, 3-time TNT champion. You can't have this guy go out there and have, like, feuds, or you can have him work, like, tell me right now why it doesn't make sense to have him in Ring of Honor. Put him in Ring of Honor and let him just completely...
That's what he's willing to do that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, I don't think that they're offering these things. I think they're just telling him what to do. Like, that's what it feels like. He's just being told, hey, you're going to go do this. And
because of the people I named, and you can't say MJF because he's a champion. Of the people I named, who are you putting him on TV over?
Any of them.
Any of them? You put him on over Swerve?
I think that him and Swerve have the ability to be so Swerve right now is feuding with Keith Lee, right? Right. Like, let's say that. You can't book Sammy against Hangman right now. How does that not help him get over?
I didn't even think of him.
Yeah, because I'm literally his only fucking fan in the world. That's what it feels like.
Oh, I love him, but he hasn't been on TV in a few weeks.
Well, it wouldn't hurt you to say it every now and then, Tyler, because I feel like I'm the only fucking Hangman fan in the world.
No, God, I love Hangman.
Yeah. Yeah, it just definitely feels like it just definitely feels like they're not going to use him, and I hate to say this because of what you said earlier on the show. But I feel like he'll just be like another one of these guys who ultimately gets released from his contract, or he lets his contract run out, and then he goes to NXT, and then people fall in love with Sammy Guevara, and then he makes it to the main roster, and people fall in love with Sammy Guevara, and then all of a sudden he becomes like a fucking superstar because he can talk, he's got a great look, his in-ring performance is great, and he's not going to be allowed to do 630 splashes onto tables and the 62-year-old men, even though that was Sting's fault. He said he forgot to move. He was supposed to move. Yeah. And Sammy didn't even care. Sammy was like, dude, I just hope you're okay. Like, that's a pretty hard move to hit. So he said Sting just popped up after because he's a fucking goat. That's why. But yeah, I mean, I just look at him as a guy who can go to WWE and he'll be utilized correctly. I don't like when I look at Hangman Page and why he signed that extended contract. I'm like, all right, they put him in a prominent role. Now him and Swerve are going out there and they're like Rocky and Austin. They're AEW's version of Rocky and Austin. Okay, cool. That's awesome. I love both of those guys.
Me too.
when it
Probably my
con-
two
when
favorite
it's
guys in the company right now, honestly.
yeah, agreed. Yeah, because I have to start looking elsewhere because you know Brian's leaving and Sting's leaving in the same fucking year, so it feels like a kick in the dick. But anyway, yeah, when I look at Sammy, can you honestly tell me that there's anything going on in the company right now that would make you sign an extension? If you knew Triple H was interested, like he was interested in the Bucks and he was interested in Hangman and he was interested in Kenny, right? So if you knew that Triple H was interested and you're looking at how you're being utilized, how do you not go?
I'd have to know what their plans were for me.
Well, he's too young. He would have to go in and make his way through NXT. Like that's what they're gonna tell him. They're gonna tell him, like, dude, like you're not a name like Kenny Omega because AEW hasn't done that with him, and they've kind of hurt him by not making him a household name. You just said he came out and got zero pop. That's fucking crazy. That's
Yeah, like
nuts.
none, and it didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, you could see
I
it in his
honestly,
face. I was wondering why his face looked like that because he looks like he didn't even want to be there.
yeah, I got that too. And doesn't help that Jericho's cutting the worst promo. Like I don't know what has happened beyond current circumstances aside. The last month or so, Chris Jericho has cut some hideous promos.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what the fuck he was talking about on Rampage. So I'll say this: I was actually getting a drink when because Don Callis came out, and I was like, I don't care. I'll pick this time to wait in line versus anything else that's happening. So I didn't see it when Sammy came out. I don't know what the reaction was then. Because the crowd did pop a couple times for a couple different things, and I don't know what they were. I know Jericho got a pop. And Sting and Darby got one hell of a pop. I actually did get to see that. I was walking back up the steps when they came running out.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. You got to see Sting live before I did, and I'm never going to get to see him live.
He's been on both of the Dynamites that I've been to there, but he hasn't wrestled.
Bro, if I ever went to a Dynamite, if I ever went to a Dynamite, I'm wearing fucking Sting face paint. Like I want to go see this.
We should go to Greensboro.
I'll dress up. Fucking, where's Greensboro?
The last match. Revolution. North Carolina.
What state in North Carolina? I should go. You're right. I could make that drive in my fucking pocket. Like I could do that shit easy.
I'll play it. I'll meet you there. Bring the boy.
Oh fuck yeah! To go see Sting. Yeah, Sting's one of his favorites, but he's not in his top 5.
Only problem is it's a month before Mania.
Oh, it's in March.
Yeah.
I'd have to do a lot of convincing on work.
It's on
it's on a weekend. Yeah, I guess I could do that. I could probably let me get what arena is it in? Let's look this up right now, guys. I'm gonna go see Sting in person. Let's see. AEW, what is it? Revolution.
Oh yeah, tickets just went on sale too, so we can see what they're. I don't think they're probably that much.
All right, let's find out. AEW is in Greensboro Coliseum. So let's look how far the drive is.
Right.
Dude, I'm excited. I'm so excited. My heart is
7 or 8 hours. March 3rd. I just got my Christmas bonus yesterday. Maybe that's what we'll use it for.
Let's see.
I'm on Ticketmaster.
5 hours, 49
$25.
I can make that fucking in my sleep. Ticketmaster. I could make
Let me find a non-limited view.
Coliseum complex, right?
Yeah, I'm on Ticketmaster right now.
All right. Nah, I want to sit front row.
Okay, well, buddy, I hate to tell you, it's $1,900.
$1,900 for AEW?
For front row for Sting's last match?
Bro, what the fuck? What'd you say, March 3rd?
Yeah.
All right, let's
It
find
all
out.
says it's limited view seating. I don't know why.
Mhm.
What's this 124? What's that look like? What's that looking like?
I
That's
don't
never
know.
mind. That's $702.
$35 for Rosie. What the hell?
Where'd you see 35?
209, section 209.
209. 209.
Look at this, guys. We're looking for tickets for AEW live on air. $702. Holy
Yeah,
crap.
that's where I was just like, section 209 row BBB, whatever the hell that is
That's
$35.
really high up. No, I don't want to
So
sit that high up. I want to
there.
sit towards the front.
Well, get $1,900 and call me back.
Oh my god.
So you get
That's
$3,800 because
terrible.
I
Anyway, we'll look into that more. Let's jump into one of our last topics of the show, guys, as we want to talk about Sasha Banks. And I really wanted to talk about this, Sasha Banks Mercedes Moné, or whatever you want to call her. But I really wanted to talk about this because I have an interesting theory. And I could be 1000% wrong, but I really have an interesting theory. So there were reports yesterday by lots of wrestling insiders like Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez and Sean Ross Sapp that talks with WWE have come to a halt. They could not agree on money, and there were other things included. So Tyler, what do you think of Mercedes and WWE and Mercedes and AEW? This is the second company in 1 month where her talks have halted. Why do you think that's happening to her?
clearly she values herself at a certain number and others are not agreeing, and I'd say she probably has enough money that she doesn't have to um come down from that. So
Mhm.
good for
Yeah,
her for
I
sticking to her
mean,
guns, I guess.
yeah, I mean, I compared her a lot to the her current status to the NFL. The best quarterback in the world is Patrick Mahomes, and he's not the highest paid quarterback. The next man up is always the higher paid quarterback. That's how it works. It doesn't matter whether Aaron Rodgers, when he got the highest contract in the NFL, then someone after him got a bigger deal. It's just the way it happens. It doesn't mean that they're the best. It just means that it's next man up. And there were a lot of reports that she wanted more money than Charlotte was making. Well, that's because Charlotte already signed her deal. Charlotte's extended. She's done. She's not going anywhere. So obviously, Sasha's not going to want what she wants. She's going to want more. I would fully expect that to happen. So I don't know why people are so angry at her asking for her value. I mean, she's clearly one of the best to do it. She's a big, like, if she comes back and she goes into the Four Horsewomen, like if she comes back and just imagine she comes in and she helps Bailey win the Rumble, and then we have, Bailey and Sasha feuding with Damage Control. Like that's a great feud going into WrestleMania. That's awesome. So I don't know. I don't really understand why this is happening. I do have my little side theory is that this is a work because remember there were reports that came out that said CM Punk's talks with WWE had come to a halt, and then he fucking debuted at Survivor Series. So we'll see. But she's doing a phenomenal job trolling people on the internet, posting photos with Triple H in the background.
Yeah. That's the other thing too. I think it's going to take a lot of money to get her to especially to agree to be full time, because she may love wrestling, but she doesn't love the travel. She doesn't love the attention. She doesn't love all the people around.
Well, then she should go to AEW.
It's really taxing for her. Lo, you're so funny.
Well, I mean, I don't think she'll be used properly. I think she'll be used like Adam Copeland, where she's a big deal at the debut, but then it's like, okay. Although I could see her and Tony fucking tearing the house down.
Oh yeah.
And I would love to see a non-injured Sasha Banks or a non-injured Mercedes Moné get a full match with Willow Nightingale, because that match was phenomenal until the injury.
I popped hard for Willow when she came out.
I believe it. Is that when you went to the
And I
bathroom?
was excited. No, that's not what I meant.
Oh, got it.
I was very excited to see her back.
We're gonna have to
And
find a
her front.
TVMA for this. Yeah. Anyway, so Tyler has a great closing segment. So Tyler, this was your idea. You lead it.
Yeah, so it's been a little bit of a heavy show, so we're gonna have a little fun to close the show. If you were a wrestler, what would your entrance music be? You can pick 2 or 3 songs. I got 2.
Okay. So when I was training, I had already had my song picked out, which was Paper Cut by Linkin Park. I really loved the beginning, and I knew that on the indies I can use any song I want because it wasn't going to be everywhere. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the way it worked. But the one song that I absolutely loved, which I guess it was already being used, is "Come With Me," which was actually used by Steve Corino in ECW. I really love that song from the Godzilla soundtrack.
Yeah, that would be dope. That would be a dope. That would be a dope entrance.
Yeah, ECW had some of the best entrance music ever. So, I mean, that's definitely it. But yeah, those are my 2 songs.
Okay, I mean you can pick as many as you want, but so I'm gonna save the one I think I would use for second. I'm gonna say the first one is "Phenomenal" by Eminem.
I am
it's
phenomenal.
In the Southpaw movie.
Yeah,
exactly.
Love
I was watching
movie.
Southpaw a few weeks ago. We had a free Stars preview or whatever, and when that starts playing, I'm ready to go. Like, let's do this.
Yeah, that's a great one.
I like the whole song, but just that one part where he's like, "I am phenomenal."
Yeah.
Like, just when that hits, when you come out, you mentioned the lights are out, and that hits and you come out.
Yeah.
Oh, man, good. But the one I think I would use, and I think, honestly, that it would get up there and get the type of initial pop, like just the Pavlovian reaction, like Voices and Cult of Personality and You Think You Know Me, and Cody's and all those is
Break the Walls
You Know
Down
You're
and
Right
stuff.
by Nirvana.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Because it like, okay, so the first part of it is like it's got like the creaking sound, like it's like a door opening almost. So lights go out, creaking sound hits. People are like, what? There's a little buzz. And then all of a sudden the lights come up and you're standing there and it goes to the da-na-na-na-na. I don't know that I'd use the lyrics necessarily because they don't really fit, but just the instrumental, the music.
Yeah.
And there's, hey, you know you're right.
Yeah.
Of course, Courtney would never, ever allow
that. Yeah. I always loved Lithium. That's my favorite Nirvana song ever is Lithium. Yeah. I love it.
My favorite's not a Nirvana song. It's they did it on Unplugged. Was Where Did You Sleep Last Night?
Oh, nice. Yeah.
It's actually by Leadbelly, but I think Kurt just does a fantastic job. God, I missed it.
We got a couple minutes before we got to wrap up. Since you bring up this stuff with the songs, let me ask you, can you name your top 5 wrestling entrances ever?
Ever? Okay. Sure, let's do that. In order or
no? Well, it's up to you. Hard. Do whatever you want.
It's gonna be hard.
5.
All right. Metalingus.
Great song.
Edge's theme song for those who don't DX. And I'm gonna lump them into one, but both versions, the Run DMC version and the Break It Down. Nakamura's initial NXT one
with the violin.
Sexy Boy.
Well, he does sing that song himself.
Yeah. And oh god, it's tough. It's because Cody's is so good.
It is a good song.
I don't want to say Judas, given the situation.
Don't say whatever either.
Huh?
Don't say whatever by Our Lady Peace. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. And I do love Our Lady Peace, but that's not one of my favorites by them. Shit, man. I got it. The Austin's Heel. The one that he used in 2001.
Disturbed.
Yeah.
That's in my top 5 as well. That is in my top 5 as well. That great. I have Stone Cold Steve Austin's Disturbed song. It was fucking awesome. Love it. Stone Cold Steve Austin's songs in general, both of them were phenomenal. They were great. He had the best theme song of that era. The glass breaking, all of it. It was just sick. I'm gonna give you 5, and I'm gonna keep that one out of my top 5 just because you mentioned it. But that was gonna be in my top 5. So I'm gonna say This Fire Burns. I think is better than Cult of Personality. Fight Me. That's how I feel about it. I love that song by Killswitch Engaged. Yeah. I don't understand. That song was amazing. I love it. I love the scream. I love the beginning and like the guitar riff. I listen to that song now on my way to work when I'm about to arrive at my first stop.
And what did he come out to with when he wrestled MJF in the dog collar match? He came out to one of his older themes that was still
his Ring of Honor theme. I don't remember what it was, but yeah. Yeah, so I have This Fire Burns, the Ultimate Warriors theme. It's just like I feel like it just gets blood running. The Rockers theme.
Okay.
I love it. Batista's theme. His whole entrance is a top 5 entrance all time. Batista's theme, like I remember the first time I watched that video of Xavier Woods backstage doing it. I was like, dude, the amount of times I've done that, like I walk for miles inside this pit of danger. God, that's such a great fucking song. Yeah. Such a great, it's amazing. Yeah. Is that 5? Warrior, Punk.
You got one more.
Batista. Oh,
you got one more.
It was supposed to be. Was it? Oh. I don't give a fuck. I don't care what anybody says. Bret the Hitman Hart's theme is amazing.
Yeah, no, I really like it.
Dude, I used to walk around. I used to walk around just being da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na. I remember like there are times where like I would walk into like a room or something and I'd see Pat and I would just be like, yeah, what? Like just the way he did it was great. I mean, when I was younger, I really liked a lot of the ECW themes. Like I really liked Walk by Pantera, Come Out and Play. I think that was Ravens by The Offspring. Thought that was
they don't have those on the network.
No. Self-Esteem, which was actually Bryan Danielson's first theme song. People don't know that was his first theme song. That was by The Offspring too. Self-Esteem, the la 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 la. Yeah, that was one of my favorites too.
Brock's is great. I always pop for it, and then I realize who it is, and I'm like, fuck.
Who's this great?
Brock.
The Rock. Oh, you don't like the
Rock.
don't like? Oh yeah. Oh, I loved his Method Man song. I listened to that song. That shit's on my playlists. Have you ever heard his Method Man song?
The one he's been using, and I always pop for it, and then I'm like, oh man,
he's one of the best ever.
Brock's gonna win the title again.
I always want him to come out to the Method Man song because it's so sick, man. Like I love it. They had a video and everything. Finally, The Rock has come back to laying down the smack on your monkey crap, candy coated
Brock Lesnar.
Oh, Brock Lesnar. Oh no. I thought you meant The Rock. Oh, Brock's song is amazing. It's probably the most generic song, and it's awesome. Like it's so good.
It just starts out and it pops me, and then I'm like, oh fuck.
Oh, I have to throw an honorable mention to one of the songs that I hum on a daily basis, which is a graduation theme. Macho Man Randy Savage. I have to. That song is just thinking about it. Everybody's like, I love Ric Flair's theme. Fuck Ric Flair's theme. Charlotte's theme is better anyway. I do love Becky Lynch's theme. That's my all-time favorite.
Becky's got a good one.
Yeah, that
Sammy's
theme is really good too. I love Sammy's theme
Zayn
too. Zayn.
Okay.
I don't know what Sammy Guevara's is.
It goes Sammy Guevara, and there's some real under you can't hear it rap music, and then it's Sammy Guevara.
Yeah. Oh, Slow Chemical.
I like
Kane's theme too.
What do you like about it?
Slow Chemical. Kane's theme by Finger 11.
Yeah.
Slow Chemical. That's such a good one too. I really enjoy that one. But yeah, those are some banging songs. I love that segment, man. Maybe we can add that from now on.
Yeah.
But guys, before we go, I wanted to throw some special announcements out there. So I am creating a Patreon for our show, for our listeners. And what we're going to do is we're going to have different tiers. It's going to start at $2, $5, and $10. And what we're going to do is we're going to include you in our shows from now on. So depending on what tier you want to join, you can either help us co-host the show. You can pick our topic of the day, meaning whatever topic you want us to talk about in professional wrestling, we will completely talk on. So if you guys love watching me and Tyler argue about the Montreal Screwjob, we'll talk about it. And then we're going to do our Mount Rushmore, our GOAT level, which is the $10. And that will be one where you will help us produce the show, where you will come on and you will help us produce the show as well. We will have other packages as well. Like we have our own merch that Tyler's will be revealed here in the upcoming week. And once we do that, you'll get merch sent by us. And we'll shout you out on the show, talk about you. So guys, please subscribe, share this video with your friends, share our stuff. We're on Spreaker, and apparently we are very popular on Spreaker. Every time we finish a show, our audio gets put on Spreaker and it gets spread around through all Apple Music and Spotify and any type of audio listening podcast. And apparently we are very popular in India, so that's awesome. We love that. So to our Indian fans, thank you so much. Yeah, man, that's exciting. So we are definitely excited to have more stuff come out little by little. But yes, please, word of mouth is the best way to get us out there. We would love to be able to leave our full-time jobs and do this full-time. So Patreon is the way to do that.
I love you.
Oh, screw your boss. Anyway,
I'm trying to get fired.
Yeah. This is pretty much what we're trying to do as a full-time career. We are, I have some things in the works to possibly go and do a co-hosting show for WrestleMania weekend. So hopefully I can get that figured out, and then we'll have it where the four of us, Tyler, myself, Patty Rican, and Fernando, we're trying to all make it to WrestleMania so we can do a show live, and we just need to right there at the link. We will be asking questions, interviews, and stuff like that. So even if we don't get to go inside, we'll be able to like walk over to McFadden's and watch the show there. Anyway, so thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. And until next time, we're out.
We're out.